There's nothing too good for a girl so true. Gee, baby, I'm so good to you. 'Cause I brought you a fur coat for Christmas and a diamond ring, a Cadillac car, and I bought you everything. Makes me treat you the way that I do. Gee, baby, I'm so good to you. Gee, baby.
Hello, my name is Svetlana Stone. You are watching Artist Voices, where we believe it's essential for artist voices to be heard. And we are pleased to have Faith Quashie here at Public Media Network to talk about what it means or take to be a musician at 21st century. Hello, Faith.
Hi.
Hi, how was your day?
It was good. It was good. It's a very busy day today, but we're here. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
That's great. We are thrilled to have you here, and I cannot wait to learn how you end up here in Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, for sure. So I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm here by ways of a very specific person by the name of Greg Jaspers, who I study under at Western Michigan University in the WME and Jazz Studies program. I met Greg when I was around 13 or 14 years old, and ever since then, he's been a great mentor in my life and kind of helped the pathway of me coming here to Kalamazoo and studying under him at Western. And that's how I'm here, very far from home.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear about that. That Greg was the one who brought you here.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
That's great. And how old you were when you were introduced to music?
Oh my goodness.
And when you realized that this is your passion?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like music has pretty much been a part of my entire life. I think the decision to make it a professional part of my life maybe came around mid-high school. I was, as some may say, a late bloomer to this music and to deciding that I want to take it professionally. But it was about, I'd say, midway through high school, kind of end of high school, when I decided to actually see myself in a musical career. I actually kind of started out in a gospel choir as a little kid for a very long time, and that was like my main mode of getting into music in the professional way. And then, other things by ways of school and summer camps and things like that, that kind of molded my idea of how I could see myself in this field. And then ever since then, it's just kind of been like a trial and error learning situation and seeing how I could pave my way in this career path. It's been very exciting, but very scary, as you know as well.
You're so brave.
Oh, so
to
are you.
come here.
So are you, yeah. It's a very interesting process, but a lot of it comes with just having faith in yourself, literally, and just putting a lot of work in your craft and believing in yourself and trusting the people around you who you take as mentors, and all those things definitely influence how your life shapes out. So very happy to have a great support system throughout my entire life.
And you're in jazz program, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And my next question is going to be what you already kind of started. What it takes to be a musician in 21st century? Because we all see your performances. I also saw your performance. It was great.
Thank you very much.
It was great. I really like your voice. And I saw this great jazz singer. But what it really takes to get you to the level you are, what are the work you are doing behind the scene?
Sure. So, I mean, it first starts out with like your purpose in this music. It's very hard to, especially as a person who is a jazz musician, along with other genres of music, it's hard to kind of blindly just walk through this music without having a purpose and a sense of intent when it comes to performing this music. So I think that for me has always been like the most important thing, is just making sure I'm doing things with good grace and good intent, and with the intent of sharing something that's much bigger than I am, which is this music, of course. It's very much a big cultural dip and a deep dive pretty much every time you sing a note, every time you start a new song, every time you get on stage to perform. You're attached to something that's much bigger than you can ever conceptualize, especially just being a young musician right now. There's still so much that I haven't even discovered about this own music that's attached to my culture, that's attached to, my history, my family, my future, my ancestors, all those things. There's a lot of unknown. So with there being so much unknown, there has to be a lot of purpose and a lot of good intent. So that's the first thing for me. And the second thing, obviously, is like the development of your own craft. And that comes with time and patience with yourself. And obviously, as you know, it takes a lot of devotion, and like there's a lot of low points and there's a lot of really, really high points that carry you through everything, and kind of just going with the pattern of up and down and the unknown again and the uncertainty that comes with being a musician. Really having to trust yourself and trust the people around you and the community that you decide to be a part of. That's the biggest wheelhouse, is just development of your practice and development of your spiritual growth in whatever music you decide to choose. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. It's a lot, yeah. We just talked to another musician, and it's a lot of hours, effort to be prepared to perform a 1 hour performance.
Oh yeah. The amount of hours you spend practicing is about 85 times the amount of hours you spend on stage. And and sometimes as a musician, you kind of just have to be okay with that, especially in the beginning of your practice. As a younger musician, you spend so much time in the shed, so much time developing your craft, so much time understanding your sound, working it out, making mistakes, messing up, right? That's part of the process, which is sometimes hard to want to accept, but you gotta mess up a little bit to get to where you want to be, and of course that all for that moment to be on stage and to share this music and to just grow with the people you share the bandstand with. That's always like that thing that calls you back, no matter how many endless hours you're in a room practicing the same phrase of music over and over again. That moment just makes it all worth it for sure.
And what you are trying to tell through your art, through your music, to others?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think part of me is still trying to figure that out. There's still, again, the unknown is still so real, and you can't really block it out, the unknown, because that's kind of the thing that is like feeding your soul. It's like, oh, what comes next? What's around this corner? What's around this door? What is this opportunity going to present for me? That type of thing. But I think as I'm figuring out that process, I think the thing that I'm trying to say through my music is whatever I'm experiencing in my life at the moment, right? It's always going to shine through whatever you're doing. Everything's in tandem. The way you feel about yourself is going to be the same way you feel about the music and how you present yourself on stage, And especially in academia, they teach you how to be able to be focused despite the spinning plates that are happening around you. But again, we're people, and people have emotions, and if you're a musician, you're doing something that's very emotional, right? And so you're portraying all the things that are spinning in your head, all the things that are spinning in your heart, the people who you interact with, the people's souls you attach with, the relationships you form. That definitely influences even the music that I write. The people who I get to meet on a daily basis. Even the students that I teach every day, they influence the songs that I decide to perform, opening up to different genres of music and understanding their lives and their processes, and it's a whole thing. So to basically back to answer your question, it could be whatever. It literally could be anything, and you kind of have to let the music overtake you in those moments. And I think that's something that I'm finally getting to like understand right now in my sector of life. Is just like sometimes you gotta just let the music wash over you, and whatever comes out is whatever it's supposed to be, and being content with that, and then being able to be like, all right, fresh breath, let's move on, let's do it again, but differently this time, or do it again but exactly the same with a different perspective too, just as valid.
You said you do your own songwriting, right? What are your songs about?
So a recent song that I actually had the opportunity to perform on a recital that happened in the beginning of September. It was a song based off of the text of Audre Lorde poem. Audre Lorde is a poet who's greatly known for a lot of her, I guess, activist type ways of wording things and her effect in the Black community, and being just an artist and a visual artist at that, or I guess a literary artist, you would say. So I took the text of her poem Coals and wrote music to it. It was originally for a specific ensemble, but then I kept making different versions and arrangements of it depending on the band that I was playing with.
And what's the message about?
Sure, yeah. So the message of the poem is actually has like a very underlying meaning. So coals obviously is coal is made through pressure of the ground and through heat and through literally weight of the earth making these coals, right, that we find underneath the ground. And so throughout the poem it has hints of no matter how much pressure and no matter how much heat and no matter how much under the ground things happen, coal is still such a purposeful thing that's made out of all of the factors that are happening around it, right? People don't think pressure and heat are things that create the best, things, but pressure and heat creates diamonds, right? Some of the most beautiful things in this world.
That's true.
And so she ties that back to how Black people kind of function in society through all the pressure, through all the heat, and that could be synonyms for a lot of things, right? But through that, we still create such a beautiful person, a Black person who is attached to this culture, who is attached to a lot of history, who is attached to, and I can go on and on and on about it. But that's kind of like the underlying theme of the poem Coals. And through the song that I wrote, it's kind of supposed to be just an encapsulation of the words, taking it in and throughout speech and singing, along with influx of very beautiful chords that are kind of simplistic in their own way, but allow for complexity to happen in the moment.
Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
And again, welcome to Artist Voices. And for those of you who just tuned in, we are here at Public Media Network with local singer, musician, Faith, to learn about what it takes to be a musician in 21st century. And my next question, thank you for being here with us. We're glad to have you here. My next question is about what the best advice you ever received from another musician.
Oh my goodness. That's a hard question. I mean, I think the best advice was to keep going. When I had a musician who wasn't too much older than me be like, "Hey, you got this. Don't stop now." And I was like, "Oh, really? Are you serious?" And that kind of gave me like the burning fire that, okay, is this something maybe I can actually do this, And sometimes I kind of like remind myself, "Hey, keep going. You got this, right? Keep pushing, keep striving for the best that you possibly can." And even if it's, a compliment from a peer or a mentor, just hearing the words, "You got this, keep going," that hits heavy for me for sure.
That brings me to another question. You said keep going. So what are the biggest challenges artists facing today? And maybe you can speak about yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think after, again, we're still in this horrible thing of a pandemic that kind of threw all musicians for a loop that we never truly expected. It's even harder now to actually believe in yourself than it was before, right? And so now it's just like you kind of literally have to muster up every ounce of courage that you possibly could find and kind of fight those demons that are telling you, "No, this is not it. No, this is not it," and keep being as grounded as you possibly can. Through, again, all this uncertainty, which is so hard for young people and young musicians to conceptualize. But as an adult musician who's had, like a touring life or a gigging life prior to COVID, and knowing, okay, if I can do that then, we can't let this derail, what my purpose is here on this earth, and that is to create music and share share whatever art that's bubbling in my system that I need to, get out and talk about and sing about.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah,
and keep going.
And keep going, yeah, always, always keep going, yeah.
So what are you trying to achieve through your art, through your music?
Goodness. You're asking all the good questions today. I mean, what am I trying to achieve? Well, the first thing is a sense of liberation and freedom in my voice. And that is only going to come with time and experiences in life. And so having patience for whatever experiences come for me, what is meant for me will come for me and will find me. And so as long as I keep my head on straight and my path on straight, then whatever is meant for me in this life will be super clear when I find out. But until then, I'll let you know. It's up in the air right now.
We're gonna have you back.
Yeah, of course. Ask me a couple years. I'm probably have a better answer for you. But truly, that's how I truly feel about it. It's just finding more liberation, growing spiritually in this music, and whenever my career path is done here, then it will be done. But until then, you never know.
You never know.
You never know, yeah.
So Faith, how people can find information about you? Do you have a website? Information about your future performances?
Yeah.
And if anything you would like to share that we might miss, you're welcome.
Absolutely.
So do it right now. Yeah. So people.
All of my social medias are just my name, Faith Quashie. Instagram and Facebook is where I'm most active, and YouTube. There's a lot of videos. I just finished a Prairie Run artist residency this summer. Excuse me. That is up there now. It just premiered a couple months ago, and so did my recital. Just premiered about a month and a half ago. This week, actually, I'll be performing with the Gold Company on Friday, November 6th with the Grammy-nominated vocal group Sage. So they're going to be here. It is going to be 8 p.m. in Dalton Recital Hall. And then November 20th, I will be at GR Noir. It is a great wine and jazz club up in downtown Grand Rapids. And I'll be performing with my quartet there from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. And as of right now, that's all the November dates. But December dates, they will be up soon. Again, on my social medias, Instagram is Faith Quashie, so is Facebook, and so is YouTube. And website will be coming soon, which is exciting. It's in the works here, so we're getting that all put together. And then that'll be up with more information, and a newsletter will be out to share where I'm playing and my whereabouts. And I hope to get to see everybody soon, as long as COVID allows us to keep playing music live throughout the winter. So, yeah, and it was a pleasure being here too. Thank you so much for having me, Svetlana.
Thank you so much for coming, and I really enjoyed to learn about you, about your passion.
Thank you.
That was great to learn about you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming. This concludes this episode of Artist Voices, and again, we were here with Faith. We appreciate that she was able to join us, and we are here at Public Media Network, where we believe it's essential for artist voices to be heard. Thank you for watching us, and see you next time.